Oh, hello there. This is Mound Maker. And what matters most is how you walk through the fire. And today, I'm walking with the laugh of a hyena into one of the only fires still burning in Nightreign. That fire is which is better on day 2 at the Great Hollows, castles or towers. It's a bit strange that the community as a whole doesn't have a strong stance on this topic, which every other seed has a generally agreed upon best path. There's no doubt that the towers are done more when playing with randoms, but if you ask those people why, I think you'll be shocked by the amount of players who say it's because they get lost or don't know how to navigate the castles. Navigation deficiency is not something I'm factoring into this video. If you get lost or don't know the castles, I'm putting links to 2 of my guides, one on each castle, in the description. They are full rundowns along with detailed, hand-drawn maps. Even without those, almost every Souls game ever has confusing locations that took you time to learn in order to beat the game. It's not anything new to learn a confusing location for a Souls player. I'm also not factoring in runes, as if you clear the towers or clear most of the castles, you should reach level 15 by the time you reach the night boss. Instead, I'm going to look at the benefits of each location. And that's the game plan for today. So let's start with the towers. The towers have 3 levels. On each level, you'll fight a different boss who appeared in the base game as an end of day 1 or end of day 2 night boss. They will drop a dormant power with a high chance of a legendary reward, although you will occasionally have no reward spawn at all, but I'm pretty sure that's a bug. Without factoring in the legendary rewards, there wouldn't even be a discussion on which is better. Those rewards are the reason to go to the towers. Once you clear, or should I say if you clear all 3 levels, you also get a passive buff that increases your ultimate charge speed and a bonus of 2000 merc at the end of your run. The thing with the tower is, everything relies on you beating the 3rd level. Most of the runes are tucked away in the 3rd level. Getting the passive buff relies on you clearing the 3rd level and getting to the roof. If you fail, you may still win your run at the end, but you're going to have a harder time doing it. And that's the tower in a nutshell. Let's go ahead and move on over to the castles. Here's a quick overview of each castle. The South Castle has 9 enemies who drop dormant powers. 2 of those are major bosses. Each castle has a talisman chest, 2 staff racks, and 2 bow racks. And finally, 32 total chests. The North Castle has 11 enemies who drop dormant powers. 2 of those are major bosses. Each also has a talisman chest, 3 staff racks, and 2 bow racks. And finally, 21 total chests. So, now that we've summarized all the locations that we are discussing in this video, what can we take from this information? Well, on a very simple level, if you're after legendary weapons, do the towers. If you're after dormant powers, do the North Castle, as they have the most enemies who drop them. If you're after passives on weapons, do the South Castle, as they have the most chests. There is a problem with trying to make things that simple as far as the castles are concerned. One of the castles will be open the whole day, and the other will only be open for half the day. So, if you're trying to clear all the enemies and open all the chests, you're going to want to go to the one that's open all day. And there is a way to determine which castle will be open. Kind of, anyway. In general, everything comes down to the Southern Castle, and paying attention to if it's within the circle on the second part of day 1 or not. If the castle is within the day 1 circle for most of the day, the North Castle will be the castle that's open all day on day 2. If the circle starts to close in any area other than the South Castle on day 1, the South Castle will be the castle that's open all day on day 2. Do you want a little opinion sprinkled into these facts? I think the Southern Castle, when it's rot, is the hardest and most time-consuming of the castles. It has clean rot knights, which like to block, and that stalls fights. They also like to spam spells at times, another stalling technique. On top of that, The boss in the north section of the castle is Putrid Avatar. Even in normal mode, its putrid scent can one-shot most Nightfarers. And higher, deeper than Knights, it can take them all out, no matter which one you're using. As can most of its attacks, unless you have a defensive build. So I personally dislike the Rock Castle the most, and it's not even close. The Magic Castle in the north and the Holy Castle in the south are about even in difficulty in my opinion. The Magic Castle has Godskin Duo, and when you fight them as a mini-boss, they are solo and a lot easier. The Southern Castle with Holy has Divine Bird Warriors as mini-bosses, and both main bosses are Divine Beast Warriors. They are almost all offensive, with very few defensive moves, and they have much less HP than any other main boss of any castle. And finally, the Fire Castle of the North. This one is the easiest castle. The hardest part of it being the Golden Hippo in the middle. This is no normal hippo. This is the hippo that turns into Sonic at half-life and rains down needles. Outside of him, the Fire Knight mini-boss are generally very easy. Compared to the other three enemy types who drop dormant powers at the other castles, the Knights are the weakest in every regard. Getting my opinion out of the way, let's go ahead and move over to talking strategy options. Option 1, and the most common strategy, is to just do one of the towers on day 2. If you're confident in the team you are with, or in your abilities as a solo player, despite all the positives I just laid out about castles, the towers are a valid option. Especially if you feel like a legendary has a great matchup that the night boss you are facing is weak against. This is the best place to fish for that legendary. If your build is based around activating your super quickly, this is the place to go for that as well because of the buff that's on the roof. If you have more fun playing the closest thing to an endless boss rush mode, this is the place to go. What isn't a valid reason is if you don't feel like investing in time to learn the castles. Moving on to option 2, and this is what I'll call the Japanese way. I call it that because I've seen multiple high-level Japanese players do this route. The route is simple. You just do the sewer area of the southern castle first, and then do the sewer area of the northern castle, ending with the major boss of the area in both locations. You'd only want to do this if the northern castle was going to be open all day. To do this route, you start in the southern castle, and you're going to enter through the northern entrance of the sewer, and you want to kill whatever mini-boss is in the first room. Then, kill whatever mini-boss is in the second room. Then, fight either the Divine Bird Warrior or the Golden Hippopotamus. From here, you want to scale the wall and head out to the Waygate. Warp to the North Castle. Then, proceed to the North Castle sewer and clear the mini-boss in the first room. Then, go fight the major boss after breaking the crystal. The boss here pulls from the same pool as the castle rooftop in the base map, but does seem to have an enhanced chance of dropping a legendary. Once that boss is defeated, jump up and fight the upper level major boss in the circle. Completing this run will grant you 6 dormant powers, with at least one of them likely giving you a legendary choice. I think this one is used by some players because you could possibly see the same number of legendary drops as the towers and an additional 3 dormant powers as well. It's nowhere close to guaranteed, but it's possible. Option 3 would be to do one of the basement routes, then after that try to complete a tower. This would be a high skill level option if trying on day 2, but a very good option for any skill level if you crack all the crystals early on day 1. Option 4 is just to do whichever castle will be available all day on day 2. This one would be more ideal for someone looking for dormant powers and passives on weapons that can be looted in chests. You'll end up with more total dormant powers and a higher quantity of weapons to choose from the chest. This one is probably more dependent on what kind of loot you get on day 1. And then there's option 5, which is to mix and match or even double towers or double castles, which requires breaking all crystals early on day 1 and also requires a lot of confidence. And that's basically it. I do think in general the castles are better to clear than the towers. The problem is there's no way to convey that to your random teammates. The good news is there's some scenarios where the towers are better. But something there's nothing better than is a person who knows how to exit a room once they've made their point. And my point is done, so I'll be on my way. This is Moundmaker. Until next time, take care.